bench basically in high school in Port-au-Prince, and we shared this vision to use education to really advance our lives and that of our families. And we applied to programs like UWC and to pre-college programs too, and we all went to this program together. We went to UWC together. I was in Norway, he was in Germany. We applied to universities together, so you got into Princeton, I got into MIT and whatnot. So our paths were very similar, and we both acknowledged the power that education played in our lives, and we really wanted to kind of create pathways for other young Haitians to benefit from for some of these opportunities that we benefited from. But I would say the turning point for me was realizing that Jill and I could be much stronger together than we would be kind of against each other. So like back in Haiti, kids that are high performing at school typically are clashing, like they are fighting to get to the top spot. And that's something that we didn't really do. Like we recognize that we had different strengths, but we could use these different strengths organically to really put it at the service of the community in Haiti. So I think that's what we did, and that really was like the source of that was the birth of the Hector Foundation. Really, it's like we had this passion for education, and we more importantly had a friendship that we were building. So how could we actually put all of these together to create an organization that could advance lives in Haiti?
That's awesome. 5 years, that's pretty great, I would say. I'm sure that doing business in Haiti, a nonprofit, it's pretty hard. We know that. But what are some challenges that you face in starting this organization? How did your partnership help you overcome it?
Yeah, as Hector said, I mean, our friendship was sort of first and foremost what we would call very regularly, like to check in about each other, about our days, and then in the process we'd be like, oh, so how about this project, and how do we get it off the ground? And the first challenge we actually went into was the pandemic, because for those who are not familiar with the program, we run one of our projects is a summer program, a virtual summer program in Haiti, a free program where we educate very talented high school students on how to get opportunities, outside of the school in Haiti, perhaps abroad, but also just foster relationships that they can capitalize on later. And it was supposed to be a virtual summer program because, as Hector mentioned, the programs that we attended were virtual in the United States, and we wanted to sort of replicate some of these programs. But the pandemic happened, and so we quickly had to rethink the model. And I remember Hector was like, man, we put in so much work already, let's just go, let's do it, we'll figure it out along the way. And I think I was like, okay, if we do it in a virtual program, we have to make sure that the residential aspects of it, still remain, such as, like, we don't just want people to come and learn, and I think that's some of what like schools sometimes do. We want to build relationships. We want to have conversations. Like you come, you learn. We have reflection sessions where after you've learned, you talk about what you learned so that you can identify takeaways and apply it to real world situations in Haiti. So the first challenge I'd say was keeping those elements in the virtual program, which I think we managed to do 5 years in. But that was one. And two, we haven't really been to Haiti much since we left. And we've been a few times here and there, but things have been very difficult in Haiti, which have made it very difficult for us logistically to organize our program. So the second challenge is running everything from miles away. And obviously, there's us, there's the team, the other people on the team as well that recently, but they couldn't make it today. Kisinga, Poski, Oeli, a big shout out to them. But we had to rely on others in Haiti. Our partnership with the UWC National Committee in Haiti, our partnership with Saint Gonzague, our partnership with volunteers, and I think it's a labor of trust. As much we obviously have ideas and we have to drive, but we can't do everything. So we really had to start trusting. We've been tested on that, but I think it's been good. I I don't know, Hector, what you think, but from my end, I think we've placed a good bet by trusting people to carry our vision forward.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say like the last thing that I would add to that is like one of the biggest challenges was just the financial side of it. Like when we started this organization, we were high schoolers. We were just in our, I would say like 11th grade or maybe like second to last year of high school with a vision to build a residential summer program in Haiti that had never been done before, and we had no money in our pocket. So it was a lot of like delusion, like I guess on our end, but we were still very driven by the idea of like recreating something that was very meaningful to us. So like even when we didn't have money, and more importantly, we didn't have organizations in Haiti that were willing to provide support in the early days, we had to find ways to channel the resources into Haiti, which is what we did kind of in an unconventional way where we applied to lots of project competitions. Like the first 3-4 years of the foundation have been financed totally with like project competitions. We've applied to grants in Norway, Germany. Now, when we moved to the US, I was applying to grants at MIT, Gilles was applying to grants in Princeton, and together we raised a lot of funds to finance those projects that we did. So I think, just recognizing that we were in a position of privilege to be in communities that were willing to put so much, that were willing to invest to make the world a better place and really take advantage of these communities to channel these resources to Haiti was really key to us. Because only then we managed to, come to the eyes of certain organizations like, Groupe Profil now that we are very close with, that they are supporting our causes, and Eco Depot and Thomson Electronics and whatnot. But we had to kind of do that first leap, which was a big challenge.
That's great to hear, because I feel like sometimes people, they have ideas and we get stuck into, okay, how I'm gonna fund this, how I'm gonna get this off the ground, but believing that what you're doing is for the greater good and that everything else will come with just taking the first step. So that's pretty cool. So why do you believe that investing in the youth is the key to Haiti's future, and how does your foundation, the programs that you've created, how is that directly impacting that?
I think one thing we've seen, we've heard a lot of times that education is the great equalizer, and I think that obviously it's not perfect, but and it's definitely not accessible to as many people as we would want it to be, but I think we are a testament of like what can be done through education. I don't think I could have ever imagined being like a senior at one of the best universities in the world right now. Hector being the first Haitian national to win the World Scholarship. That's like, this is just the beginning of all the things that, this has never been the goal. This is just like, those are just steps to get us to where we want to be. And we want to make sure that education can do that for more people than just us. Well, I want to shout out my brother too, because he paved the way. He's very shy. But he actually, I think he's among the first, if not the first person to go straight from Haiti to Princeton. He graduated from Princeton 2 years ago. So, this is just to show the power of education and like seeing him do it. Hector and I were like, bro, this thing can be done. And before him, there was Delmi. Delmi, some of you may know him, who went to MIT. Like we had those role models who really set the stage, and we're like, when we were, Hector and I, we didn't really speak English until like the age of 14, 15, maybe 16. And we learned English because we wanted to come to these institutions. And seeing that these guys do it, we were like, man, the first step is to take the TOEFL, which is like an English proficiency test. And we're like, man, we gotta ace this exam. And we would, use our breaks in between classes to practice in English. And people would walk by and laugh at us and stuff because our accents were terrible, even worse than how they are right now. I speak for myself. Thank you. and so we used to, fight with the language, and you know, we've done this, man. Like seeing this number is just incredible. Our first grant, we won $1,000. It was $1,000. And yeah, we at the end of a campaign where we have almost, and hopefully by the end of tonight, we'll raise like $20,000. And education has given us a lot. And our work, I think, is like making sure that, you know, what education has been for us, it can be that for so many more people, especially in Haiti today. Like as we see the situation in Haiti, I think kids desperately need not just education, but like they need to believe that like they can keep hoping. Yes. Like if they keep going to school, there's like a way out. Because if we lose that, we lose everything. So that's what I think our mission is. Yeah.
Again, I was kind of just gonna add on to the second part of the question and how our work is currently doing that, because I figured that, you know, most of you probably are familiar with what we do, but you know, we are a non-profit, as you can see, otherwise we wouldn't have fundraising on the screen here. But we have two main, I guess, projects. Our flagship project is POS, which is the Program for the Advancement of Young Scholars. It's a 3 weeks intensive pre-college program that really takes students outside of the boundaries of the Haitian curriculum. So like they come in and then they don't just take math classes, they will take classes in AI, they will take classes in psychology, all of these, you know, fields that are often not as developed as we would want them to be. And beyond that, they come in and we also force them to have conversations about topics of greater significance. Like we want them to be having conversation about democracy, colorism, and all these kind of things. And those really add on to the, I guess, intellectual baggage that we offer. And we have, I guess, the college aspect, because ultimately we want them to be as competitive to, you know, international opportunities as they can be. So we have admissions officers from Harvard, from MIT, from Princeton come and chat to them and really give them first-hand information on how to be successful in those applications. And then the last bit, obviously, is the networking side, where we encourage them to form communities. And some of the things that really gives me, you know, the fuel to keep going with this is seeing our students leave our program and create their own thing. Like we have a kid who literally started his whole organization that is now impacting hundreds of kids in the south of the country after he did our program. So those are the kind of stories that are like, we don't just give them homework. We really empower, we embolden them to think that they can be change makers in the country or in the communities in which they come from. So that's like one flagship program that we do. And the other one is on the science side. So we recently inaugurated a makerspace in Haiti. It's the first of its kind where kids can really come and do practical science. They can learn how to build small robots, they can learn how to design things. And that's a space whose goal is to really democratize the access to, you know, the tools of invention to young Haitians. And I was in Haiti last January, and I was teaching a robotics camp for like 3 weeks. And it was so interesting because like the breadth of knowledge that they could have gotten, they didn't even get it. Like they just got a taste of what they could learn. And you should see, like, you know, the smile on these kids' face, like their willingness to, you know, to be engineers, to go and try to build things and, I don't know, save the world or whatever. So like these projects, again, as you was saying, is really giving the kids hope that like they can continue to educate themselves and they can aspire to unprecedented heights because there are people that came before them that did it. So through our projects, we really kind of like try to underline this mission, which is to use education to make the country for like everyone. But then through the projects, like every single one of these that we try to push are backed by that mission. So that's how we kind of accomplish that.
That's pretty cool. So, I feel like, especially in times where there's things that you're not familiar with or you're not aware of, or there's certain, how would I say this? There's certain things that you're not acclimated to, you know, you don't see it in your environment. And I was just curious to know, how has the kids' reaction, were there any I don't know, pushback, or were there any from the parents or even from the organization seeing kids like you say, oh, I want to bring this to a school? Or did you get any pushback, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm gonna speak for Project Manus, maybe you can speak on POS. Project Manus was a huge task. We started drafting the project in 2022 and like January 2022, and we only inaugurated it in August of 2023. So it took us a long time to kind of not just kind of raise the money to build a space, but really to design a project that could be useful. Because a lot of the inspiration came from attending institutions like the US, where we see maker spaces here, we see what people do, and we just want to do them too. But then practically that often doesn't work, because you can't just bring Western ways and try to kind of like offer like some sort of technological solution to like a societal problem, like, because ultimately there is an educational gap in like science in Haiti. So we have to be very careful on like how do we craft this project such that it is relevant to not just the kids, but then the parents that are going to allow their students to go to a space that we are telling them, quote unquote, they could go there, but they have to sign a waiver because they could cut their finger at the same time. So all of these considerations have to be taken care of, and I think we managed to be very sensitive to that gap in the science education space, and we really managed to be very upfront about like the expectations that parents should have and kids should have when coming into Project Manus. And with these expectations, we develop very rigorous training program for kids to have access to the space. They have to go through a number of shop training, so general training. They have to be mentored on every single tool that's in the space, and just so we can avoid accident as much as we can. So these things, I guess, were really helpful to go and convince the principal that was gonna give us the space to build the maker space. But it was very helpful as well to get the cohort of students, at least the parents, veto that like, oh, I would let my kid come and participate in this project. But it was not something that we overlooked, because we did want to be very sensitive to the difference in science education that existed in Haiti, and be cautious about not just bringing the way that things are done in the US into Haiti, because that often would cause trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to add briefly to that. I completely agree, and from the summer program side, it's literally the same thing. Fortunately, I mean, for better or for worse, the program is not residential, but that's something we would have had to figure out. Like, to tell the parents in Haiti that we're gonna keep your kids on a campus for 3 weeks. In Haiti, as we know it today, on top of the situation, the political situation, but also Haiti is a very conservative country, and so, but I think even then is like when you tell parents, hey, we're gonna give your kid a tablet and an internet router, and they're gonna be able to follow the program at no cost to you. There's a bit of like, really? Like, what's the catch? We're like, no, your kid is just brilliant, and we want to support your kid. And we really had to, I think that's sort of like, one of the tough parts is like, we also want to be able, and one of the things we're gonna do next year is having conversations with parents, like orientation for parents, and be like, hey, this is who we are. We tell them this story and why we're doing this, and you don't have to worry about us. Like, your kid is just genuinely talented. No one is doing this, is investing in people like your kid, but like, we want to do that because people have poured into us. And so that's kind of like, and that's the difficult part. Cause like, actually, I think having the money and that's hard, but like, that can be done. But these like mindset, shifts, like, they take time.
Yeah.
They take time to tell a parent, this program is really, like, obviously they're gonna be on their phone and on WhatsApp groups and they're gonna have to travel, but like, we hope that it's meaningful and they're gonna take things away from it that's gonna help them. And after they graduate from the program, their parents will tell them, hey, like, your kid could go to the US and get a scholarship, but there's a lot of like like hesitation, like like what's the catch, like what kind of scholarship, because we really don't have those things back home. And so keeping that literacy, I think, is gonna be important to, after the program ends, we don't just like, give up on the kids, we keep accompanying them, and that's part of the work.
That's really good. That's really good. So I feel like you're bored and you guys are you're pretty young, honestly, and I think not only that, but you're still in school. Some of you are working. How do you balance all that, honestly, and also, what advice would you give someone, a diaspora, a young person, or it doesn't matter the age, honestly, who wants to get involved in an organization like yours, or an organization that they see but they don't know how to start? What advice would you give them to really get started? And
I can take a stab at that, Hector, and then you can. One is, I think you can donate, So I mean, that's the easiest way to support our work. And you ask how we balance it. I don't know if we do. Like, we life is always changing. I don't think we're at a stage in our lives where like things are set, our weekends are set, where we can say we're gonna. But we like the mission is so personal to us. I mean, it's like it's essentially every time we host the program, we see versions of ourselves, and we're like, man, it would have been so great to have that, like in Haiti, when we were at that age. We did. I hope we didn't have to leave the country to find that. So I think seeing that is like, man, no matter how hard things get, and as you can tell, we're in the US and we're not just like going through the motion. We are doing pretty good at school, and that takes like effort and a lot of energy, and so I think the mission right now is what keeps us going, because we're like, we can't give up on this. I'll pass the mic to Hector, but every time I'm like, at the end of every year, like, we have the summer program, and then we ask them to give us feedback, and every single time, like, it just like warms my heart so much, because they share about like, this is probably, they always say, and I don't think we could ever start with like, oh, this is gonna be the most meaningful thing you'll ever do, but we keep hearing this, like, you guys have just like rekindled that like fire in us to just keep pushing for things, keep hoping, keep fighting. People are like applying to schools, and people are convincing their parents that they want to go abroad. Like it's like there's like a fire that I think, if you are familiar with how Haiti is right now, man, like this is the mental health of young people in Haiti is just through the gutter. And then so if we have a program that makes people feel like there's still like something to be, to stay alive for and to fight for, I think that keeps us going. That's all the energy I need.
Yeah, and I guess like the last, just to keep this brief, the thing I'll point is like, I remember Gino and I, we had a conversation about like this whole public service thing, and he was saying on how, we were high schoolers, we were in doing this IB program, we were doing it, we came into college, this guy was like president of the school like for 2 years in a row. He impacted nearly all aspects of the school. He was invited by the highest administrators to like advise on policies that basically shape student life on campus and whatnot. He had other competing priorities, and when we think about, should I come on a meeting on a Saturday to think about how the next project of the Hector Foundation should go, it's not. It means something to leave those competing priorities and to do this thing. And we were asking ourselves, how do we do it? And I remember the conversation was around how we make public service basically like our lifestyle. And it was very funny, because we were like, we don't really feel that like this work that we're doing is pushing us to get out of like our comfort zone to go and do one more new task. Because otherwise I think we would have given up like long ago. Like all of this work that we do is really like ingrained in our daily life, our daily choice. When I learn something new, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, what is the pathway for me to teach It's like, and basically in project management, for instance, like all of the courses that we've taught over the past year have been courses that I've taken personally at MIT. It's like, they are robotics classes or whatever, circuits class. The entire curriculum has been something that I've seen, and I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't cost me much because I've already seen it. I'm not going out of my ways to make it happen. So it's like, it's almost like no real balance because like this thing is already aligned with my daily life. So I think that's one way to kind of like, I guess, do it. And for people who kind of want to do the same work is recognizing that public service, like it is for us, can be a lifestyle for you too, and you can basically do these things as you learn. And if you're into music and you learn something new in music and you want to do something for someone else, you very much can. You're into tech, finance, whatever it may be, you really can be a change maker at those like small scale by just aligning it with the thing you do on a daily basis.
I agree. I would say too that like I was having this conversation with Isabel. Sometimes it's not even about like reinventing the wheel, because there are organizations like yours that are doing the work and that have an infrastructure ready. Sometimes it's just, what am I good at? What do I like to do? And how can I apply it and be of service to the people that need the help? Because everyone, mostly nonprofits sometimes, or they're people that already have 9 to 5s, they have all these things, they're volunteering your time. So it's really sometimes just volunteering your time and your expertise into organization like yours as well. So to close things out, I would say 5 years ago, you started this organization. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And what do you hope to, where do you see yourself and how do you hope your impact to be?
5 years from now, that's like, it doesn't feel like it's been 5 years, and at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, like, a lot
Time
of
flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. We really are having fun. That's another thing. Our meetings are genuinely fun. Like, one thing we can is like, we're not gonna become corporate, like, suddenly we're running an organization that's making, an impact, we're gonna change who we are now. We try to call, we chat for like 20, 30 minutes, we catch each other on our lives, we laugh, and then we're like, all right, let's go, let's dive into it. And I think the friendship part of it is like essential to the work that we do, because it keeps us accountable to each other. Like, when things are tough for me, Hector picks it up, like, and when things are tough for Hector, I'm like, yo, I got you. Like, just let me know what to do, where to be, I got it. And I hope in 5 years we still have that, like, as we get busy, things get busy, I hope that, like, this core commitment to, like, our humanity, like, in the middle of the work remains, because the work comes and goes, but like this friendship, has been in the beginning and this to stay. So that's one, we put a lot of effort into that, So that's one. And then two, I'd say in 5 years, I really hope that we are able to impact more students, but also have a deeper level of engagement with each student. Because our summer program is like 40 students every summer. We have more than 40 qualified applicants every year, and we have more than 40 students who need it every year. So we're gonna be thinking about how to have projects that are able to impact more students, but also, how do we start supporting them earlier? Because by the time they come to our program, sometimes, they are seniors, and then we tell them, hey, you have the grades, you have the extracurriculars, you could get into a school like Harvard, but they don't speak English. And that's like, they shouldn't be expected to. It's like there's a lot of class component to like speaking English in Haiti. And so we want to make sure that we're able to support students earlier. And after they graduate for the program, they don't feel like, all right, we're done, our work is done. But like continued engagement, more opportunities. Like, how do we like give them? We have this internship program, and this is one of the things we're very proud of, is that we were able to, like, the people who graduate from the summer program get to come back as like program managers, and they get to run the program themselves, and they get paid. We write them recommendation letters, but that's only like 4 students every summer. We really want to be able to keep impacting the lives of the graduates from the program. But those are like some of the goals we have already. Hector probably has like have like a $30 million, endowment, Tell us, Press, what's the plan?
Yeah, no, I think you really covered it all. I mean, what I'll add is, obviously everybody who donated on this campaign, we said we're gonna do X, Y, Z with these. I hope we're gonna do X, Y, Z. I know for sure we're gonna do whatever we promised on this campaign. We're gonna be dedicated into doing it. That's expanding PAYS to hopefully more students in the country. Kind of not just right now. We've been having students from about 35 cities in Haiti. We want to make the program nationwide, so really get students from everywhere to participate. When it comes to Project Manus, we want to run those robotics training camp every 2 weeks. So that would be about 600 students trained on robotics, like over the course of a year. So all of these goals are like very specific targets that we have, and we are gonna work tirelessly to make them happen. The other thing I would say that's more like on a personal level for me is, we managed to do this work over the past 5 years. It's pretty cool. I guess 5 years from now it's gonna be 10 years. It's gonna be even cooler. I just really hope that we will not just do the work in the future, but we'll also inspire others to kind of like do the same. And when I say others, I specifically mean like administrators within the education space in Haiti. Because when you think of Project Manus, for instance, the makerspace, like if we have the ability to build 30 makerspace like tomorrow, like if you tell us, oh, we have the funding, just go, like we have the expertise, we've spent so much hours about not just drafting a project, we designed the project. Like every single screw, every single tool that there is in the space, every single labor needed to make this into a makerspace is like written somewhere, just waiting for funding somehow to happen. So I'm really hoping that in 5 years we'll be able to inform some of the policymakers or some of the people that are looking at the curriculum in general on how can they make subjects in Haiti more hands-on, how can they encourage kids to apply their knowledge to practical purposes. And I think those are the kind of things that we do in makerspaces. So, hopefully we'll be able to inspire more of these projects, and they can happen, not just in our spaces, but other places in the country. And I guess the last thing, in 5 years is that, I really hope that we're gonna have the drive still, to keep going at this, because we've done this throughout high school, throughout college. The next step for me is still grad school. The next step for Gilles is likely grad school too. And after that, is life, basically. So we really need to be intentional about thinking about how to make the foundation a sustainable organization that can prevail without like a heavy influence of like from Jill and I, because when life's gonna hit, it's gonna be harder and harder to maintain that same drive to make this project come to life. And that's something we've been thinking about. We've had a strategic plan that we worked on over last year that really kind of emphasizes how we're gonna bring different directors into the organization over the next couple of months, so that they can start taking over projects like PAYS, directors that will take over projects like Project Manus, and then we can slowly take a step back into sort of like an administrative role where we are making sure that the mission is still kept, the projects are staying alive, but we have other fresh hands running the things on the ground. That's very key to the foundation existing over the next 5 years, and that's something we need to implement like today. So those are things I hope to see in a few years.
That's great, and I'm sure we'll be here to support you. And I think you guys are really forward thinking, which is important, and I think that's gonna take you really far further. So thank you guys so much for sharing this with us. And does anyone have any questions? Don't be shy. No? Okay. Let's get them to 20K, guys. It's literally 400.